Before today's video, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Tee-Riffic Talks Podcast for having me on as a guest. It's a podcast hosted by Bolton 2000 about a certain purple dinosaur that has touched our hearts for many generations. It's like Purple Roads, only without this guy. I've had numerous stories to talk about, including my love and appreciation for this purple dinosaur, my TikTok videos, and of course my Barney review, which is currently the most viewed video on this channel. It's available on YouTube, and links to both the channel and the episode can be found in the description below, as well as on this card. Be sure to check it out when you get a chance. And now, onto the review. Thank you! Hello internet viewers, I'm the Fairly OddGamer, and welcome to 2021. And let me tell you right now that this year is unlike anything other. Because this year happens to be the 30th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog. And because I'm a huge Sonic fan, it's fitting that I only talk about how Sonic the Hedgehog came to be. So without further ado, this is...
Stop right there, Fairly OddGamer!
And who are you?
Who am I? Who am I? We've worked together before! You play SBO and Jen on my show, remember?
Vector, there's no way someone would steal something from you.
Are you friggin' kidding me? Who made this stupid gear?
But we have to do this so that way this video won't get demonetized or age restricted.
Sonicify?
That's right, and I can't let you review every single classic Sonic game.
What exactly do you mean by that?
I can't let you review them because I was gonna do that.
You don't even review games on your channel.
Oh, really? What about GC from the Sonic Adventure Review? He doesn't review games on his channel either.
Yeah, good point.
So what should we do now?
Well, I guess the only thing we could do is talk about the classic Sonic games together.
Oh, heck yes. Start the intro.
This is Sonic Classic Games Month. By the way, I want to ask you something. How did you get introduced to the almost 30-year-old Blue Blur?
Well, actually, Gamer, this might be surprising, but due to me being a retro game collector, my first Sonic game was on the Sega Genesis, and it's right here, Sonic 1. I bought it from a retro video game store, played it a lot, and I liked it. So I kept going with the franchise after that. That's basically it.
Interesting. Now, before we actually get to the games, let's just remind everyone how Sonic started out. With Super Mario being a huge success, Sega wanted a new mascot in place of Alex Kidd, with one that was both cool and hip for the 90s. Ideas included a rabbit, an armadillo, a bear, a dog, and a human being. In the end, Naoto Oshima's design of a fast blue hedgehog was ultimately chosen to be the new mascot. I mean, look at it. Who wouldn't want him as the face of your video game company?
I know I wouldn't. Though some of the characters' designs would eventually appear in other Sonic games, like Mighty Armadillo, who has so far appeared in Knuckles Chaotix, Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, the arcade game, and most recently, Sonic Mania Plus.
The jolly mustache man in Jammies would later become the inspiration of Dr. Robotnik, who would eventually become Dr. Eggman in the modern games. And how cool and hip was Sonic at the time? Well, allow me to explain. His fur covered in blue, his shoes heavily inspired by Michael Jackson and Santa Claus, his attitude based on Bill Clinton.
Okay. I think they get the point.
He will forever be known as Mr. Needle Mouse. I mean Sonic the Hedgehog. So what do you say, Sonicify? Shall we play some classic Sonic games together?
Absolutely. Let's start out with the one that started it all.
Yep, with Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis. Does it still hold up after almost 30 years? Let's find out. Sega! Now that's what I call a classic sound. Speaking of which... what a way to start the game. I'm sure it'll be reused for future Sonic games. You know what else will be reused? The first level, Green Hill Zone.
Whether we want it or not.
Green Hill's looking a lot more like Sand Hill right now.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
I could clearly see that.
Anyway, Sonic the Hedgehog is your typical 2D action platformer in which you can run and jump. But it's not your average, ordinary 2D platformer though, because Sonic has speed on his side with loops and red and yellow springs that may or may not help Sonic. Scattered around each level are obstacles that Sonic must avoid or destroy. They range from spikes, environmental hazards such as lava, and robotics designed batniks to prevent Sonic from collecting all the Chaos Emeralds and saving the world.
There are also rings, which basically serves as Sonic's health. However, once you get hit, you lose all your rings and you'll have to get them back. There are also monitors that can grant you more rings, a 1-up, speed shoes that temporarily give him more speed, and finally, invincibility for a short time.
Plus Sonic can get a shield for extra protection.
Plus, collecting 100 rings can give you a 1-up anyway.
However, if you maintain at least 50 rings at the end of a stage, a giant ring will appear. Jumping into it can warp Sonic to a special stage. While it's a bit hard to control, the overall design of them is trippy as all get out. While in these special stages, you can earn a continue if you collect enough rings, but your main goal is to collect all 6 gems called Chaos Emeralds, which only affects the ending of the game. So now that we have the general gameplay out of the way, let's get to the levels themselves. As Sonic gets adventured through 6 zones in which you have to save the helpless creatures trapped inside containment units, and prevent Robotnik from, what else, taking over the world. Each zone has 3 acts with a boss battle being in the 3rd act. They all look amazing in their own right, and the color schemes are incredible. Green Hill Zone is your basic World 1, making a nice beginner's level introducing new players to the game's mechanics.
Marble Zone, however, is the opposite of Green Hill Zone. The design is different, the theme looks like something out of Altered Beast, and now there's more platforming than speed used in this zone. Boo!
Spring Yard Zone is a mixture of the first 2 zones in which you have fast-paced elements as well as slow-moving blocks. Plus the music in this level is pretty good. In fact, I love the music in this game from the opening jingle to the variety of levels. It's amazing without a doubt. In fact, composer Masato Nakamura of Dreams Come True wanted to treat the music for Sonic not as a game, but as a film, and was given pre-rendered graphics of each stage, which helped him a whole lot. But yeah, it's a good level to say the least.
Labyrinth Zone. Ugh. Ah! Ugh!
I guess it translates to, this is the worst level in the game.
You are definitely right about that, dude. This stage will have you slowing down, not swimming, but rather walking in the water very slowly. And not to mention, you have to get air bubbles while underwater, or else the infamous countdown sequence starts.
Ah! Oh my god, I'm drowning! I'm drowning! I'm drowning! I need an emerald! I need you right now! Ah! Oh, phew. Yay, Starlight Zone! More speed and more loops to run toward. And the best part about it? No slowdown! Yay!
Ah, but then you remember that this zone has indestructible enemies.
Oh, come on!
Scrap Brain Zone. When you play this zone, beware the traps. They will be your worst nightmare in this zone. There are trapdoors that don't stay up too long, ugh. Trap platforms that spin around more than Sonic does. And not to mention, at the end of Act 2, Robotnik has a trapdoor waiting for you that drops you down into Labyrinth Zone!
The final zone is the only room in which Sonic defeats Eggman in one of 4 poles, while Eggman zaps lightning balls at you. If you hit Eggman enough times, the gadget explodes and Sonic can destroy Eggman by jumping underneath him. Sonic returns to Green Hill Zone with all the animals roaming free from Eggman's grasp. The end. With Sonic 1 being a huge success, eventually taking over the majority from Nintendo, it's no surprise that a sequel is being made. That's where Sonic 2 comes in.
Oh boy! Sonic Tuesday!
Coincidence? I think not!
So how does it fare to the previous game? Let's find out.
Here we go, Sonic 2, the introduction of Miles Prower.
Poorly executed joke is poorly executed.
Thank goodness everyone calls him Tails.
It's pretty much the same plot as Sonic 1, so there's really not much to talk about. That also applies with the gameplay, except this game now has a spin dash. By holding down and pressing the jump button, both Sonic and Tails can rev up their spin dash, giving them more speed than ever before. Not to mention each zone now has 2 acts instead of 3, except for the last few zones containing either 1 or 3 acts total.
The types of levels haven't changed for their themes, but the graphics can look different than in Sonic 1 and improved too. Emerald Hill Zone, for example, is structured like Green Hill Zone, but the graphics and layouts of the level are very much improved from Sonic 1. The boss at the end of this zone is Eggman in a drill car, with the easiest weak spot out of all the bosses. Robotnik, a doctor with an IQ of 300, everyone!
Chemical Plant Zone is one of the most memorable levels in Sonic 2. Not because it would later reappear in future Sonic games like Generations and Mania, but because this level also introduces a speed boost forever changing the way Sonic games look and feel. It's always thrilling to see Sonic almost off-screen the level. I also don't mind the sort of underwater section in Act 2, but I'm sure most beginners will probably drown there.
Aquatic Ruin Zone is the water level of this game. Except now there's barely any water to go into, and if you're good enough, you can pretty much avoid the water throughout the whole level.
The boss battle has Eggman whack a giant hammer at stone tiki poles with owl faces shooting arrows straight ahead. After Sonic defeats the boss, Amy Rose for some reason wanders into Eggman's junkyard and finds the giant hammer, which she later uses as her Pico Pico hammer in Sonic Adventure.
Wait, what?
Anyway, Casino Night Zone not only brings back the pinball elements from Spring Yard Zone, but it also introduces one of the biggest key elements of the game, slot machine gambling.
Which would be later used in Sonic Adventure and Heroes. Hilltop Zone. It's blue, boring, but the music is good.
Mr. K Zone is probably known for what has to be one of the most infamous traps in the game, the pit. Not even Super Sonic can escape from it.
Now with this zone being so difficult, let's see how hard the boss is. Oh.
However, in the iOS and Android versions, jumping into the pit grants you access to the Hidden Palace Zone, a Lost Beta level that was never used in the final version.
Oil Ocean Zone. Ugh.
Okay, it's not that bad, and the oil can be a blessing or a curse depending on how you use it. Metropolis Zone is the only zone in the game with 3 acts instead of 2, and boy, they are long. While it does have multiple pathways, there are a few enemies to keep an eye on. Astrons that can be found on walls, shell crackers with an extendable claw, and finally, slicers. They never miss when you come across one of them, though they can rarely be avoided. With dumb luck. Unlike the previous levels, the rest of them are one-act stages. In Sky Chase Zone, you ride Tails' plane, the Tornado, while avoiding or destroying any bagnicks in your path. Wing Fortress Zone may be one of the most difficult stages in the entire game, mainly because you have to traverse airborne platforms over a bottomless pit. Now for all you speedrunners out there, I have a small hint for you guys. Once you get the shield at the start of the level, you run into a propeller that supposedly forces you to take the left route. However, if you walk straight into the propeller and lose your shield, you can use the invincibility frames to walk by the propeller, effectively skipping half of the level.
Now I know!
And knowing is half the battle!
G.I. Joe!
Hey dude, did somebody say G.I. Joe?
Ah! What the heck is that thing?
Oh. Gamer? Who is that?
Oh, don't worry, Hux, it's just Sonicify.
Who?
Oh, sorry. I'm not used to whatever you're supposed to be.
It's alright, dude. Not many people know what a surfing husky is.
Fair enough.
So Gamer, what are you playing right now?
Oh, I'm playing Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Oh yeah, I love that game! Haven't played it in a long time though, but still an excellent game.
Yep. Plus, Sonic 2 is the very first Sonic game I ever played.
Nice! Anyway, I just wanted to see what's up. Later, dudes!
Does he always do that?
Pretty much.
Well, at least you're not working with typing plush dolls.
Finally, there's the Death Egg Zone. Sonic has to face the final 2 bosses in different rooms with no rings at all. I like the concept of having no rings at all on the stage because it can test on how good your reflexes are. Speaking of rings, if you get 50 of them and pass a checkpoint, stars will form around the checkpoint. Jumping into a checkpoint will grant both Sonic and Tails access to the special stage in which you have to collect a certain amount of rings in a half-pipe-like structure. While they are incredible to look at, I don't really like the special stages in regards to gameplay, not only based on the difficulty, but also the controls can be a bit off at times.
However, once you get all 7 Chaos Emeralds, the reward is definitely worth it, because you get the power to go Super Sonic! Once you collect 50 rings and jump once, you're basically invincible to all enemies and run faster than ever before. Although, you still can't breathe in water or swim, so yeah.
The final addition to Sonic 2 is the multiplayer. If you have a buddy along, you can race each other in 3 levels, Emerald Hill Zone, Casino Night Zone, and Mystic Cave Zone, via split screen, or the special stage in which you have to gather more rings than your opponent. Oh, and about the levels, you're actually racing through the same levels you'd normally see in single player mode. While the split screen doesn't look very pleasing, I do like the music used for these levels. But if racing isn't your thing, your buddy can actually control Tails in single player mode.
So with Sonic 2 being a huge success and one of the highest selling Genesis games of all time, Sega would then take a huge gander and make their next Sonic game on the Sega CD of all things. And that game would be known as Sonic CD.
Sonic CD? Surely it would lead to more Sonic games on the Sega CD, right?
If by that you mean the Sega CD was a huge failure in the video game market, then yes!
Well, I guess I can't play it then.
Don't worry, gamer. Lucky for us, there are many ports of Sonic CD on many home consoles.
In that case, I'm in! Let's start this game! What do you know? Sonic CD actually looks pretty good. And talk about high quality music. That's something you don't hear from the original Genesis.
And if you thought those things looked and sounded good, wait until you see the opening FMV.
I don't see anything wrong with it. The opening FMV looks pretty good on my end. How does it look on the original Sega CD?
If you're strong, you can fly, you can reach.
Yeah, due to the limitations of the Sega CD, the FMV does look more pixelated and for the most part, choppy. At least we have Sonic Boom as the opening theme. It's a pretty good opening theme and would later be covered by Crush 40.
However, if you're from Europe and Japan, you get a different song called You Can Do Anything, or as most people call it, Toot Toot Sonic Warrior. In fact, the soundtracks for the US and Japanese versions of Sonic CD are completely different. Take a listen.
Sonic Warrior, toot toot Sonic Warrior. You are what you need out of him. You got the power to Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom. Get you running fast. Sonic Boom.
Well, except for the music from the past versions of each zone. Weird.
Not only that, but the game introduces two new characters. Metal Sonic, who would later appear in Sonic Heroes, and Amy Rose, who has the hots for Sonic. You can actually find her at the very beginning of the game if you're lucky. Gameplay-wise, it's about the same as the first two games, with a few exceptions of course. While Sonic can still spin dash, you have to wait a while before it's fully charged. However, there's a new move called the Super Peel Out. Instead of holding down, you hold up as well as the jump button, in which his legs turn into a figure 8 and can run really fast. For the longest time, this has been the only console game to feature this move, even though it does reappear in some of the Game Gear titles. That was until 2017, when Sonic Mania was released and the Super Peel Out would make its return.
Now, the biggest difference from Sonic 2 in this game is time travel, in which you can run past a sign that either says or on them. Run fast for a certain amount of time and you will go back to the past or back to the future.
Great Scott!
Not to mention, this is probably the only Sonic game that has time travel.
Chaos Control!
I meant time travel done right!
However, time travel isn't your best bet. You do have another option, collecting all the time stones, which are basically this game's Chaos Emeralds. You collect them by going through special stages via the giant ring like in Sonic 1. If you thought the special stages in Sonic 1 were weird, then wait until you play these stages. All you have to do is destroy all the UFOs under a time limit while trying to avoid water, which can make the time deplete faster. But seriously, look at these stages! Try playing these stages without having your eyes messed up. Anyway, if you manage to destroy all the UFOs, you're then rewarded with a time stone. If you collect all 7 of them, then you automatically get good features for every zone. Unfortunately, you won't be able to turn into Super Sonic. Graphically it looks pretty good and has the capabilities of a Sega CD game. But unlike Sonic 1 and 2, this game pretty much combines the level design from both games into a massive overhaul, making them way more colorful than before. Palm Tree Panic is pretty much Green Hill Zone and Emerald Hill Zone combined. Also, is it just me, or is this stage heavily influenced by Zelda? Look at this! The Triforce is literally seen all over this level. In Closing Chaos, Amy gets captured by Metal Sonic. But that's not the biggest problem though. The whole stage itself has 50 shades of pink with elements of pinball. How and why did Spring Yard Zone turn into this? Tidal Tempest is this game's version of Labyrinth Zone, but much better both visually and structurally. But be sure to grab some air bubbles whenever you see them. Quartz Quadrant Zone is actually pretty difficult to talk about. It might have elements of Scrap Brain Zone because of the conveyor belts, but it looks pretty good to say the least. I also like this boss fight in which Sonic defeats Robotnik by running a treadmill and therefore wearing out the machine. The concept alone is pretty fitting for a Sonic game, and I hope it makes return in the future. Wacky Workbench Zone.
Ugh, where do I begin? This zone will have you bouncing all over the place, which sounds like it could be fun until you play it! Also, you can get frozen in this level to add insult to injury.
Let it go, can't hold it back anymore.
Stardust Speedway Zone. Finally, one of my favorite zones in the entire game. Why? Because of its great music, great level design, and towards the end, you get to fight Metal Sonic! And by that I mean you race against him until he gets defeated by running into a door. What a horrible way to go. Oh, and then you rescue Amy Rose. Yay?
Metallic Madness is the final level of the game. You know, for a final level, it's actually not as difficult as I thought it was. Okay, maybe a little bit, but only because most of the failures were my fault. Plus, Sonic can shrink via laser. Your controls are about the same, plus some cuteness to add to Tiny Sonic. Even the final boss isn't that hard either, but it's close to impossible to maintain all your rings or your shield after taking the first hit. Anyway, Sonic defeats Robotnik and retrieves Amy back on Earth, as well as saving the little planet, yes that's what it's called, from Robotnik's evil hands. Plus we get a montage of Sonic destroying all the enemies he faced throughout the game. There is one more thing to talk about in this game. By entering a cheat code, you can trigger a sound test. If you input certain numbers, you can actually see some secret images designed by a few of the game's artists. Aw, look at him. Isn't he adorable?
I just want to hold him and hug him and love him. This image of Tails saying, "See you next game," actually triggers a debug mode in the main game. Pretty cool, right?
But what is his next game exactly? Sonic 3?
We'll get to that next week.
Wait a minute, is that supposed to be Batman? But I just revealed Batman Returns.
It's actually funny you mentioned that, Gamer. Sonic's current voice actor, Roger Craig Smith, actually played Batman in Arkham Origins.
I guess you could say this image alone is the foreshadowing of Sonic's career.
Next up is MC Sonic, the fastest DJ alive.
Now this is a story all about how my career got flipped, turned upside down.
Ah, is that the original Sonic movie design?
I need an adult!
We are adults.
Help us!
Wait, what does this translate to? Fun is infinite? Oh no, I just found out what Infinite's true power is in Sonic Forces!
Run away!
So with that disturbing image out of the way, how did the first two Sonic games hold up? Well, they're actually pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
While I personally think Sonic 1 is bare bone compared to the sequels, it's still fun to play, if not a little on the hard side. But it was the game that started it all, so I can't really complain. The levels look good too. Sonic 2 fixes the problems that the first game had and brings all new enjoyment to the table with new levels, new mechanics, and not to mention, it's extremely fun to play with a friend. Sonic CD is probably one of my favorite classic Sonic games, mainly because of its amazing graphics, the uses of the Sega CD's technology and mechanics, and most importantly to me, the awesome music, both in the US and Japanese soundtracks. However, I will say it probably isn't the most polished of all the classic Sonic games in terms of level design, and it can be hard to play and get used to. But I still had the most fun playing this game overall. What do you think, Gamer?
The first Sonic game is a classic by all means. It would end up being the game that Sega hoped for, taking the video game market majority from Nintendo, a company that had dominated the video game market at that time. Not only that, but it would also begin a huge rivalry between Mario and Sonic, which still continues today. While it looks basic compared to the sequels, it's still an enjoyable game to play as a whole. And as I mentioned before, the game's soundtrack is always a joy to my ears. Sonic 2 is the one classic Sonic game I remember the most, mainly because it was my first Sonic game back in elementary school. Everything from the first game had been taken to a whole new level both in graphics and overall gameplay. The boss battles do have some challenges in them, but they're actually pretty easy once you know what you're doing. In the end, Sonic 2 ended up becoming the highest selling Sonic game overall, as well as on the Genesis. As a sequel, it does an amazing job bringing back elements from the previous games, as well as new elements that brings in new players to the world of Sonic. As for Sonic CD, I like the concept of the boss battles, the time travel, and the overall gameplay, especially the super peel out. But some of the level design didn't look that pleasing and would almost give me a headache sometimes. While the game sold well, it was the failure of the Sega CD that did it in. Soon they'd take notice of it and would later make more games strictly for the Genesis. However, the game would later be ported onto the Sonic Gems collection as well as future home consoles. Speaking of which, you can also play these games on the iOS and Android phones in widescreen, as well as playing classic Sonic games on the go. Overall, these games did pretty well, and I would definitely recommend these games to any Sonic fan curious to know how the Blue Blur started out. Give them a try when you get a chance. So what new adventures will the Blue Blur endure? Hold on tight, because next week, we'll be talking about the next installment, Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
And Knuckles.
You see what I mean? I'm the Fairly Odd Gamer, and I wish you all good luck for the rest of your day or night, wherever you are. Take care, everyone.
Who am I? Who am I? Okay, that's a blooper.
How's it going, dudes? Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon if you want to get notified for upcoming videos.
Also, be sure to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, as well as my character buddies on TikTok and video commissions. Links to those in the description below. Speaking of character buddies, here's one of them right now to finish out the video.
Ah, bless me bagpipes. Hello, everyone. I'm Scrooge McDuck, the richest duck in the world, and I'm here to remind you that you can support this very channel on Patreon. As a supporter, you'll be granted access to the Discord server, have your name featured in the credits, and bonus content, including a sneak peek and or an early showing of upcoming game reviews. Before concluding, I must give a special shout out to Huxgamr Bone, also known as Wisdom Tote, for possibly having some gold in his back pocket. So thank you one and all for watching the video and supporting the channel. And if you excuse me, I've got to go check on the status of me money bin. I don't want to be wasting any more this time around. Also got to check if the Beagle Boys are hanging about.
In the middle of the night, where will you be? If you can't find you, there's no place to go.